How's it going? Spring is here. It's fantastic. So it's episode 22, Carmens Bronco Shop. Welcome everybody. I'm Carmen. So today we're installing, we've installed the new seats and we're going to give you the lowdown on those. We've rebuilt the heater with one of those blaster kits. We've installed the wiper motor, and I want to show you something kind of neat about the wiper motor and how it needs to be grounded. And we've got a quick tip for you to show you exactly how to keep your windshield sturdy and straight all the time. Anyway, let's get at it. So here we are installing the Pro Car seats in the Bronco. And it's not really that confusing, but sometimes we make things confusing when we buy parts and we don't install them for 6 or 7 months. Anyway, there's a bunch of parts. So I bought the seats, and with the seats come the sliders. It's all good, everything. But I forgot that I also ordered these brackets right here. These come from Wild Horses, and they must machine them out themselves or have somebody do it. In any case, these fasten right to the floor of the Bronco. And then on the edges, this is the hole that you use to fasten the seat to the bracket. Okay? Clear as mud. You're going to see it's all going to take shape in about 2 seconds. And then there's also one more bracket. And this is one that I had kind of misplaced. I was talking to my buddy, the guy I gave my seats to, and I said, I'm sorry, Danny. I said, I might have to get those brackets back from you. I said, I can't understand why I need to, but anyway, I don't need to. So it says right here, Pro Car Passenger Side Riser. That's what you need if you're not going to go with the toolbox underneath the seat. So basically that holds the seat up in the far corner. Any of you guys with Bronco know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's for a later video. This, of course, is for the driver's seat when I get to doing that a little later on. And I don't know how you'd want to do this. You might even be able to, if you want to suck the seat down a little bit and have yourself a little lower, you can either go with the top or the bottom. But I think that if you go with the bottom, you might have to cut these off. But I don't know that for sure yet. I'm just kind of at that stage. So basically, I'm going to put everything in place, sit on it, and see whether or not I can look through the windshield, or if I'm looking through the wipers, then maybe I got to do something about that. Anyway, that's where we're at. So these are for the driver's seat, and I'm fastening the ones to the passenger seat right now. I just want you to see what they look like. Okay, decision time. I have basically been thinking about these seats for probably a year now. I can't remember exactly when I bought all the parts, but I'm sure it was around this time. Oh, it was way before this time last year. Anyway, the whole time I was thinking about it, I was imagining driving this Bronco and hoping that it was going to be as comfortable, but better than the original seats. So what I've gone and done is I've got them exactly the same height and angle as the original seats, and I'm just hoping that they're going to give you more support, and obviously they're going to. So these are Pro Car seats from Wild Horses, and obviously got a pair of them, and I got the Tuffy box, and I painted the Tuffy box the same color as the seats so that everything would match up. Now, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Is it going to be comfortable or not? Wow, this is comfortable. The Pro Car seats, they're rally seats, they hold you right in, they're comfortable, the height is good. The vision through the windshield is really good. I'm pretty much at about the 60% mark. Excellent. Love them. Wow. Comfortable. And of course the Tuffy box is really comfortable here too. I've been driving these trucks for so long that I remember the things that I didn't really like about the original ones back in, well, I was driving them around 1979. I got my first one. Anyway, they never had a console. It was always tough, and nobody made anything back then. So now you got all these benefits of new technology and engineering and all this sort of thing. Anyway, really comfortable, practical, the whole shooting match. Cheers. Big thumbs up. So here's something that I haven't seen any other videos on. Not a big deal, but it's the heater boxes. We spend a fortune restoring these old trucks, put new rear ends, high horsepower engines, fancy transmissions, transfer cases, the whole shoot match. But we don't do anything to the heaters. And you got to, because these old heaters were terrible. They barely keep the windshield defrosted. Anyway, when I put my heater box back in and I was going about hooking it all up and everything, and I got it to work, it was terrible. Like, I could hardly hear the fan when it was on the low speed, and the clunking and everything that was going on inside it. So really, I make it sound like this is something I would have done, but I probably wouldn't have done it either had I not run into the problems. So anyway, here's what we're doing. We bought the new heat blaster kit. All right, pretty simple. The instructions are all right there. Shows you what to do. It gives you the new motor, new squirrel cage, and I bought the gaskets and everything to go with, so you're kind of totally rebuilding it. The only thing that you really have to do that's a little unusual is you have to make the hole a little bit larger. Okay, you see the hole right here? That used to be a little smaller because the old squirrel cage wasn't as large, okay? So basically, you can see now that that's really loose in there. All you had to do was set the new motor in place based on the instructions, mark out the holes where you need to drill it. See if we can talk here at the same time. Anyway, mark the holes out where you need to put the mounting screws back in, and then these two aren't actually attached at that point. You just take the squirrel cage, you center it, you mark out the new spot where you need to drill it, or grind it, or I use my jigsaw, okay? And all you're doing really is oblonging the hole a little larger on one side. Then that fits in, slick as that, and you got some room, it's not gonna hit anything. Fasten it together and put the new, in fact, I'll take a few seconds in the next, in a couple of minutes here, just to show you some of the fittings and stuff that go with the new kit. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so heater motor is installed. Now we're just taking the box apart, and there's just a bunch of basically kind of like sheet metal screws. Hold it together. You got to take this accordion style tunnel off here, pull this off, and then you're going to see it all kind of fits. For example, here's one of the old, okay, what do you call it, gaskets that fits on your two hoses that run from your engine, you know, carry water through to your heater. And here's a new one, okay, nice and fresh. That's what it's all about. So I'm just taking that apart now. Okay, so here's the heater, it's all apart. We got one new gasket to go on here. Look at this one here. I mean, it's basically, it's just dust. The actual heater core looks good. Now, I guess one could make an argument that you probably should change this at the same time, but I don't have one. And
sorry, I got ahead of myself there.
Clean it here in 2 seconds.
So all you do is you pull out the heater core, which is that block that we're doing all the talking about right there. And there are all new pieces of foam that surround the entire piece. Slide it back in and put the case back on, and you're good to go.
Oh, maybe you'd like to hear it run. That's the pump for the fuel injectors. Always kicks in for a few seconds. And now here's the high. And you can tell now it's nice and high. Should get some decent heat out of that. And then the low. I don't know when you'd ever really use low in these things, but anyway, you got them both. Low, high, off. So, like most of you, I like to mock things in place and test them, make sure everything's working right. And anyway, I was having problems. And so anybody that's ever replaced a windshield before realizes that you have to cut your lines and all that stuff. And I just, I did a quick video about that earlier. Anyway, so I put everything back together, and well, lo and behold, when I went to turn on the the wiper switch, the motor would only go at one speed and it wouldn't actually park properly. And I thought, oh my heavens, what did I do? So I was going to order a new switch online. That's what I kind of figured it was. And I went online and gee whiz, it turns out that a $30 switch anywhere in the state is going to cost me about another $65 to have it delivered. And then I got to pay the taxes once it gets across the border and the broker's fees. So a $30 item was going to cost me close to 150 bucks by the time I got it here. And it was sort of a guess. Anyway, what I had done when I was originally installing the wiper motors, I put these two nuts on the small studs here, and I was holding everything in place, and I had everything all hooked up. And then I thought about this. I had taken these two bolts out, and I had painted them so that they would look half decent. Unfortunately, I scratched this here. I have to touch that up. Anyway, I had this big brain wave, and I thought, maybe it doesn't have the right ground. And sure enough, once I put these bolts in place, I got the ground that I needed. And now everything is fine as kind. Check this out. Beautiful. And park. There you go. Anyway, just wanted to bring that to people's attention because I know there's a lot of guys that run into the same problems I'm having, and without thinking about that particular issue, you might go and buy yourself another switch or a motor, not realizing that it was just the way these things are grounded. Cheers. So one more step in the process, of course, is you want to stabilize your windshield because you don't have your doors on a lot of the time. There's nothing really holding it in place. Anyway, these are brackets they sell at Wild Horses, and they're great. You can see how they're fastened at this end through the last hole in your windshield. And then you just basically drill a 7/64 hole here, and you thread it out to 5/16, I believe it was. It's all in the instructions anyway. And it works out great. It's nice and solid. That's what that's about. And that's really important. Wild Horses. All right, take number 10. I know that these things aren't as exciting as some of the other things, but they're all part of rebuild. And people run into problems with these things all the time, and hopefully if somebody gets a question answered or it shows them a product that they haven't seen before, that's what it's all about. Anyway, can't finish this episode without sending special regards out to my beautiful granddaughter Lily. It's her 6th birthday. Love you, sweetheart, and I hope you have an amazing day. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks with more progress in the Bronco. It's getting close to being done. Cheers, everyone.